There are many mistakes that investors make when starting out. This is normal because we are often not taught about where to start with our personal finances. If we are lucky, we will get a good financial planner that can help us out. But most of us learn from the internet and from experience. This is why I have created a series on money mistakes to avoid in your 20s. Now, if you avoid some of the bigger mistakes, you are setting yourself up on a better path for the future. Hi, I'm Rashad and I'm here to simplify personal finance for you. In the first part of this series, we talked about the 3 mistakes of not starting to save for retirement early, not setting financial goals, and taking on bad debt. You can check out the video linked in the description below in case you missed it. Let's look at 3 more money mistakes that you can easily avoid in your 20s. Not creating an emergency fund. An emergency fund is really important because it provides a buffer in your financial life. Many investors begin their investing journey straight away with an SIP into few funds. This is a good start, but it is a mistake to not create a cushion in the form of an emergency fund first before you do that. The reason being that those investments which go via SIP end up being for long-term investments. Typically, such investments, if they have exposure to equity, can be quite rewarding in the long term, but the trade-off is that they are quite volatile in the short term. Unfortunately, too often life gets in the way, and we may need to redeem our investments for emergencies. Redeeming long-term funds at the wrong time can have a huge impact on your wealth, and this is why creating a dedicated bucket of money for emergencies is very important to help you manage those short-term situations when you are in a crunch. I have done a video on emergency funds. You can check out the link below to find out how much you need to save for emergencies. Going overboard on mid-cap and small-cap equities. Many first-time investors come to me and tell me that they are young and therefore want to take a high amount of risk. When I help them to create a portfolio for themselves, they then push back saying that they want a majority allocation to mid-cap and small-cap equities. Mid-cap and small-cap companies are those companies that go beyond the top 100 companies by market capitalization on the stock market. Whilst it can be the case that some exposure to mid-cap and small-cap equities can work for high risk-taking investors, it is a mistake to put all your eggs in this one basket. These companies do much better than the market in good times, but do much worse than the market in bad times. And if you look at the history of performance of any asset class, there is no one asset class that perpetually does well over time. In fact, every year, the top performing asset will be different. Therefore, having a healthy mix of different assets and investing based on an asset allocation is very important. You need a portfolio that can work for you and your goals, and therefore having a blend of different risk and return profiles is important for investment success. Paying too much attention to financial news. The market is random. If there are more buyers than sellers, then the price of a security will go up. That's basic economics. And the same thing happens in the opposite direction. If there are more sellers than buyers, then the price will go down. Normally, there will be a driver of this mismatch in pricing. And it is important to understand what is going on in the financial markets to understand the bigger picture and how it could affect your investments. However, news channels and social media have mastered the art of making this news addictive. They tend to give second-by-second coverage of what is going on in the market and try to put logic to that after the fact. Think about it. The Nifty 50 stock market index is made up of 50 companies. The price of each of these 50 companies goes up and down based on specific new information related to that company. Sure, there may be some big macro events that can move all the companies at the same time, but on most days it's just random. and the movement of the market is a collection of those individual price movements. My biggest pet peeve is when news channels or radio say that the market moved up or down by 300 or so points because of some news announcement. What they don't tell you is the percentage move of the index. A 300-point move on the Sensex, which today is around 60,000, means that the market moved by 0.5%. All that drama for such a small movement. Paying too much attention to this news without having that context can make an investor make hasty and emotional decisions, which is not a good thing. For an investor, the most important thing is to define your financial goals and invest according to that. Keeping the financial news in mind is important, but it is probably just as important to make sure that you don't go overboard on it. So that's 3 more money mistakes to avoid. Have you made any of these mistakes? Let me know in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you like this content. I'm Rashad and I will see you in the next one.